It all started when Kathy, the HOA's leader, made the decision to escalate once more. My land itself was their aim this time. With a train parked across the entry, they blocked access to a crucial area, stating that I needed authorization to use my own land and that it was for the protection of the community. Although it initially appeared frightening enough to interfere with day-to-day operations, Kathy had misjudged my level of strategic and legal authority. When I got there, I saw that the only way into my property was blocked by the enormous train. Kathy was standing close by, grinning triumphantly, sure that her audacious gesture would compel me to comply. She was unaware that I could disband her entire HOA and establish complete ownership of the land and its access rights with only one signature and the appropriate legal wrangling. I calmly got in touch with the relevant local and legal authorities and provided them with proof of ownership, the illegality of their obstruction, and the lack of jurisdiction. My property was under Kathy's HOA control. The authorities verified my allegations in a matter of hours, and despite the train's size, it lost its legal authority. I promptly revoked any purported authority they believed they had and signed the paperwork required to formally dissolve the HOA. Kathy's arrogant demeanor soon vanished as she recognized how badly her power play had gone. The train, which she believed would provide her with leverage, now served as a reminder of her unsuccessful overreach. In addition to breaking the law by obstructing my property, her boldness resulted in the whole revocation of her HOA's power. She and any allies were left without authority or redress after her entire organization was formally dissolved. The neighbors who saw the obstacle were taken aback. Kathy had tried to use intimidation to gain control, but the legal and tactical reaction had totally changed the tide in my favor. She would face instant legal repercussions for any attempt to meddle in the future, which would be thoroughly documented and enforceable. I added further access controls to further secure the property. They put in new gates. All approaches were tracked by security cameras and motion sensors, and legal signs outlining the boundaries and ownership rights were displayed. In addition to being against the law, any future hindrance by Kathy or anybody working on her behalf would be subject to instant legal action. Kathy tried to claim that she had a community or moral right to restrict access, but the law was unambiguous. Her HOA had vanished. Her actions were now proof of harassment and unlawful obstruction, and her authority was void. There was no denying the irony. She had completely lost control as a result of her attempt to exert power. There was no doubt about the lesson. Boldness without consciousness. Legal authority and strategic action are helpless in the face of preparation. Kathy had thought that a train could scare me into complying, but her overreach only led to her organization's ultimate disintegration and her diminished authority. Because ultimately, attempts at coercion are transformed into decisive triumphs by information, planning, and legal authority. The train she believed would provide her with leverage turned into a symbol of her failure, and my property was completely safe. Kathy's bold attempts to intimidate only served to expose her irresponsibility, and her influence was permanently undermined.